Welcome back to Graceful Art Designs. Today I'm doing another painting of the New Jerusalem, and this time, as you can see, I have actually drawn on the picture of the little houses as I imagine them. I drew them on with a brown crayon because essentially they're going to be made of the stone of Jerusalem, and they are a little bit big in proportion to the rest of the canvas, but it's because I'm going to be using a palette knife. I'm going to be doing something different again, and I'll just start the painting with a light background of Naples yellow, a white mixed with Naples yellow, and it gives a lovely background color. It won't cover the crayon, but that's exactly what I want. It will just allow me to have this lovely golden glow through the back of the painting. And so the paintbrush is quite wet now with oil, but when I use the palette knife there won't be any oil on it. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see these are the hills of Jerusalem in the background, and a lovely palm tree there, and I'll add in other trees afterwards as I see fit. But first I just need to get on this titanium yellow, this Naples yellow and titanium white, and then see how and whether I will actually be able to use the palette knife on something so small, because I'm doing 4 different styles of the New Jerusalem, and there will be one with a paintbrush, and depending on the results I will choose to do one of them on a bigger scale, on a bigger canvas, depending on which one is the most liked or the most popular, and which one I get the most feedback on, which one people want to see more of in a larger painting, and also which one I like the most. And then there might even be a 5th one, because I still want to do another one of the metallic colours, the pearlescent colours, on a bigger canvas and using the colours differently, and hoping to get a much different result to the first one, which I like it, it's pretty, but it wasn't what I had in mind. So this is the painting so far, and you can see the diagrams are still visible underneath, and the whole canvas is covered with the mixture of Naples yellow and white. And I'm going to just do the outline of the houses, and maybe the inner layer of the slabs of stone with a thin layer of sap green. I'm not using a very small brush, maybe I should, but I've got a size 12, which I used on my roses, and it's still good, so I'm going to just try it. As you can see, I've drawn the square houses with the flat roof and the arched the domed doors and windows and a flat roof, and made of slabs of the Jerusalem stone, which is so pretty. And I think that makes a nice picture. I'm using the sap green because in one of my other paintings that I used it seemed to give a nice golden glow when it's dried. So I'll maybe just use it for the outer border. And of course not much of it will remain once I use the palette knife. So I'll bring you back when I've done some more. As you can see, I have painted in all the lines of the houses. There are sort of curved or domed doors and windows. I've also painted in the palm tree and the outline of the hills. Now I've mixed together 2 colours which I'm using, burnt sienna and burnt umber, and some white. And I'm going to just try to use that for the outer part of the bricks of the stone, and then I'm going to try and bring it into the center, but without covering the whole stone in that color. So it's going to be a bit tricky. I don't normally use the palette knife except for clouds, and so far it's not working. It's just not going, it's not catching. Maybe I need to put it on my lap again. So I don't want to put the whole knife down, otherwise too much will come off possibly. Because there are different techniques for palette knives, and this one is specifically something I'm trying to do for this size and this type, which is not something that people commonly do. But I will get it. I'm going to put it on my lap and see if I make some progress there. Paintings, because it's interesting what one can do, and you never know until you try, and it might inspire someone else. I was inspired to use the palette knife. I've been inspired by Stuart Davies, who does a lot of clouds, and I've done clouds very nicely with a palette knife, but also with a brush. So I don't limit myself to one way of doing a thing. But then I saw another channel by an artist called Wendy Brightwell, and she paints flowers mainly with a palette knife. And they do look quite lovely, very abstract, but they do look quite lovely and colourful. Although she doesn't do blending, because if you use the palette knife exclusively, it's a little difficult to do blending. And, blending is not critical, but it is certainly appropriate for some things and some objects. And you can't, everything can't just be one bland colour. Although she combines in a flower many different colours, but not blended, just separately next to each other. So there's so many different ways one can use paint. The result of the blending with the brush is, of course, that I was not able to keep the centres of each slab of stone white. I was able to keep the windows white, and the doors I made darker because they will be wooden doors. So I would imagine a different material to the rest of the building. But I'll have to wait now for it to dry a bit, and then add some creamy white to the centre of each stone, and then do the outline again in burnt umber, which I have done, but it keeps blending. You can see I'm doing it here. And sometimes I was able to keep it darker, but not always. And if I do, then it means there's a really thicker line of paint there, which I don't want. Thick paint all over the place. So in the meantime, I'm going to just do some sap green in the hills to mix them, to mix the green in between the rocks. And I'll bring you back when there's more to see. Well, the weather's changing now, and it's very overcast, and although it's only 2:30 here, it's kind of very dark already. I can hardly see what I'm doing. So I'm just adding bits of sap green in between, and as I did here, I'm not really painting them. I'm just tapping the colour in, just to create that sort of rocky, mountainous look with the bits of green in between, and then bits of green in between the houses. Maybe too much oil on my brush now. But this sort of creates a natural look, doing it this way. At least I think so. And so the final bit will just be the refining of those slabs of stone in the buildings, and so that they don't just look dark as they do at the moment. Oh, I lost my way there. And I would have liked to add in an olive tree somewhere. I'll see if I can do that. And make some more leaves on the palm tree. It's a bit bare. So that's what I'll do, and I'll show you there at the end. I carried on blending the green around. Again, not really blending, just laying the brush down and just making the marks with it, and then sort of pushing the bits together. And then I'm now taking a dry, clean brush. I have put white in between the slabs, on each slab with my big brush, but it's not really helping me to get the look I want. So, I mean, I need to take a little more Naples yellow, I think, into the windows first, just to make that golden glow. And then I'll mix it into the slabs of stone as well in the center where I've put the white. And hopefully that will improve the look overall. I did quite a lot of blending with this really tiny flat brush, size 2, and that seemed to help get the lines where I wanted them. Just these windows are a bit blurred, but everything else seems to be okay. I need to put more leaves on there, but I'm just waiting for that to dry because now it's all very wet, and any green I add on there is either going to have to be a brighter green or it's going to just blend and blur. So I'll wait for that to dry. It's more or less done, and I'm happy with it. It's better than I thought it would, given that the palette knife was just too big and too awkward for what I wanted to achieve. And even so, I mean, it's not exactly perfect. It's not exactly how I want the rocks to look, the rock slabs, but it will do for the size of painting. And I like the hills and the background. It looks okay. The sky looks interesting. So I'll leave it there. I might bring it back if I do, when I do add the green on there, and if I do any other final touches.